Welcome to Dirt Authority Live. I'm your host, Paul Benelli, and we're going to be talking dirt with Justin Quinn, winner of the 2014 Baja 1000. How you doing today, Justin?
Good, how are you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. Looks like you had a little excitement over the Baja 1000. You got picked to run the middle leg of the night section, and tell us a little bit about what happened there and how you got picked and how your life changed from there forward.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. My dad was in UTV Inc. buying a light switch, I believe, and Johnny kind of peeped out and said, "Hey, you think your son would want to race in the Baja 1000?" And I kind of went from there. My dad called me like right after he left and said, "Hey, you need to call Johnny. He wants you to run in the Baja 1000." I said, "Oh, sweet." So I call him up, and we get to talking, and he basically just asked me, "Hey, do you want to, what do you think about running the 1000?" And I said, "Well, is that even a question?" I was all for it right off the get-go. And he said, "Okay, well, make sure you can get time off work and everything else." So as soon as I hung up with him, I went right to my boss and said, "Hey, I just got picked to race one of the biggest off-road races there is. I need to take a whole week off. Sorry."
Yeah, you can't pass that up.
Yeah, sorry for the late notice, but
right.
It is what it is. So they were cool with it. Called Johnny back, got the okay. And then from there, that was probably 2 weeks till. And then from there, we were over there almost every night, late night. These guys are working hard on building the car. I mean, they were doing long hours. They were doing
Right, so you had a couple weeks prior to the race to get acquainted with everybody and get the team and everybody.
Yeah, meet the team and everybody.
Yeah.
I actually had to buy a new helmet, new suit.
Oh yeah, to get score legal.
Yeah, exactly. Because I had to buy a Parker pumper helmet and wired and blown, they call it. But
so you had to sink some money into this thing.
Yeah, well, it was way worth it for sure.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, a lot of people don't know about you personally and what kind of background you have. So let's fill everybody in on that, because a lot of people don't realize that you race sprint cars.
Yeah.
And that's how, so let's go into that. Let's go into how that all happened and lead up to that, so give people a little history.
Well, I've been racing something since I was 4 years old. My dad bought me my first dirt bike when I was 3 on my 3rd birthday. And I raced dirt bikes from 4 to 9 years old. My mom thought it was too dangerous, so we ended up getting into go-karts, actual racing go-karts. Did that from 9 to, I believe it was 12 years old. And then that's when Rhinos first came out, and I started racing a Rhino when I was 13, I think. Did that for a couple of years. Did really well, I think. Met a lot of cool people. And then that kind of died down a little bit in Arizona. So we decided to move to mini sprints. Did that for a couple of years again, did pretty good in it, and then moved right up on into sprint cars in the 360 division, non-wing.
This is all in Arizona, by the way.
Yeah, this is all in Arizona.
Phoenix area.
Yeah, I mean, Southwest is.
Southwest,
yeah.
Okay.
I traveled a little bit in every division, I would say. Sprint cars is called a Southwest Series, so that's Texas, New Mexico, race in Vegas.
That's part of the USAC.
Yeah.
Okay.
At first, when I first got into it, it was ASCS Southwest Region, and now it's USAC Southwest.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was kind of we blew a motor last season, so we were kind of out of it for a little bit. My girlfriend's dad actually just bought us a new motor to go racing again, and that's kind of when all this unfolded. So.
Right.
It's kind of a.
So you were kind of in obscurity for a while. You were doing the sprint car thing, and you're 21 years old, and
right.
And you and your dad loved to go out and just go out in the desert. And you said I talked to you prior, and you said you had 1,500 miles on your razor, on your personal razor.
Yeah.
So you have some seat time,
right.
And everybody kind of knew that. So that's how it all kind of progressed into that. Is how they got you in the.
Yeah, when I first bought my razor XP 1000 in November of last year, I went into UTV Inc. to buy a couple things, a couple accessories I wanted. And so that's kind of how Johnny knew I got back into it type deal. And literally, probably 2 weeks later, my dad ended up buying another one. So we go out almost every weekend, cruising around the Arizona desert. It's beautiful out there. But yeah, 1,500 miles in probably 6 months. So
yeah. No, that's great. So let's give us a little rundown of when you got to Mexico, and you know you got a little nervous. You know, I'm sure here you go. You're in the biggest race in the world, and you're hanging out with Branden Sims, and you're hanging out with Johnny Angal and Brian Bush, and who else was on your team?
We had a great group of guys. I think there was 12 of us total. There was my dad.
Jim.
Quinn.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jim. Yep.
There was Kirk, Eric, Craig, Branden, Johnny,
Right.
Brian, obviously. Oh, Nate.
Quite a few.
Richard. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody,
Yeah.
but yeah, everybody worked really well together. We actually kind of all met each other like a couple of days before we went, so it was kind of up in the air if we would get along or not, but we ended up pulling through. I mean, it was a great group of guys. Everybody got along really well. But yeah, I mean, the drive down to Mexico wasn't that bad. It was only Ensenada, so I think it was a 6-hour drive. A little nervous going across the border just because all the stuff going on in Mexico right now, but
Right.
after we were in it was fine, and then we got to Ensenada, and it didn't really hit me. I didn't really get nervous until I was actually gonna get into the car. Like literally when the car was pulling up to me.
Reality's kicking in right now.
I was like, wow, this is gonna happen.
Yep,
so
the spotlight's on you and everything.
yeah, everybody kept asking me, "Oh, are you nervous? You nervous?" I said, "Yeah, not yet, but I will be." So
Right.
But yeah, I mean, we got there on a Tuesday, and then Polaris had a pre-race party for us, which was awesome. They supported the whole thing really big. And then we went from there. Wednesday was contingency row.
That's always a fun thing. That's just a huge spectacle. Yeah.
A lot of spectators, a lot of people down there. They all wanted stickers.
Yeah. Stickers. Yeah.
We handed out a lot of stickers. I think it was like 6 hours, and then you got through tech, and then it was basically the next day, rest of the race.
So did you do any pre-running at all prior to the race?
I didn't drive the car at all before I got in.
So you went right in there cold,
Yeah,
huh? You just went in there and say go. It's like,
Yeah,
run, Forrest, run.
It was cold turkey for sure.
Wow.
The most Johnny drove it was around the block, and then like a little bit in Mexico, but other than that, we didn't do any pre-running at all. Branden hadn't driven the car, Brian hadn't driven the car.
Oh, so nobody really had any
I
seat
mean,
time behind it, huh? Okay.
It was kind of we're building up to the race type deal, and I don't know, everything just fell into place. But luck was on our side.
So Johnny Angal, he's the one that started the race, and explain how who was doing what and what was going on.
Yeah, I definitely got to thank Johnny Angal first. Without him, none of this would have ever happened. So, But yeah, Johnny had a whole plan in his head of what was going to go on. Johnny and Eric, Eric was his co-driver. They were going to drive the first 200 miles, and then I was going to get in it because then we were planning on. We didn't really know when the race was going to start. We ended up starting at 2:45, I think.
Right.
So it was a little later than we thought. They drove into the night, and then I got in at, I want to say 6:30 or 7 o'clock at night, and drove. I think the first pit stop was 130 or 140 miles in.
Right.
We pitted real quick, and then I got out after 330 miles to let Branden get in, and he got in, and I handed it off with a 30-mile lead, I believe.
Right.
And by that time it was 4:30 in the morning. He got in and had a long drive ahead of him. I think he ended up driving over 400 miles, which is a lot in a Baja desert.
Right. Yeah.
it's fatiguing for sure.
Yeah. What was going through your mind when you were talking to me earlier about this? You didn't know what's going on. You silt beds. You're talking about darkness. I know you had good lights, but still, lights can only do so much.
There was so much unknown at night. It was crazy. The lights were great, but you couldn't see around a corner. You couldn't really see the terrain in front of you, which was a task in itself to handle. But I mean, I went from silt beds to rock to, graded roads all the way to, I was driving right on the beach at one point. So, the Baja was all over the place, but it was definitely kept you on your toes. There was nothing the same like I'm used to in a sprint car. I mean, you go around a circle.
Right.
It's it's not the same every time, but a lot of the time it's the same rhythm you get going on, and the Baja was totally different, different the whole way. But
well, we're here talking with Justin Quinn. We'll be right back. We're going to pay a couple bills, and we'll be right back.
Welcome to Dirt Authority Live, where we're talking dirt with Len Novin and Paul Benelli. From gripping headline feature stories to industry breaking news, Dirt Authority is the only place to get the dirt you're looking for. Join us each week at 4 p.m. live or visit our website where we'll bring you the latest news, highlight videos, and pictures from major events all over the country. Joining our community is free, and it will keep you up to date on all things dirt. Go to dirtauthority.com to post comments, use our free classifieds, or just keep up on breaking news and events from gripping headlines, feature stories, and more. Dirt Authority is the only place to get that dirt you're looking for. Also, check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Dirt Authority Live and dirtauthority.com. You owe it to yourself to keep up on all things dirt.
Welcome back to Dirt Authority Live. I'm your host, Paul Benelli. We're talking dirt with Justin Quinn. Before the break, we were discussing with Justin how he got catapulted into the limelight by being asked by Johnny Angal to drive the 1919 UTV Inc. Pro UTV. And let's talk about the future now. What is going on with you now after the Baja 1000 and all the things that have progressed from then?
Yeah, it's definitely life-changing for sure. A lot of stuff's been going on. A lot of people have been approaching me. But like I said, I got to thank Johnny again for even putting me in that spot. Without him, none of this would have ever happened. It's definitely.
You actually had a very important role to play because you were actually the leg man. I mean, you were like the middle. Everybody got the day rides, but you got the kind of the crutch job kind of thing to where you were really heavily used. I mean, you came through with shining colors, and and that's not going to be unnoticed, I would think. So
yeah, it was I actually don't mind driving in the night too bad, and that's kind of what I told Johnny, so he was all for it because he doesn't mind driving in the night, but he didn't want to type say,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely a hard leg. I mean, there wasn't anything easy about it, but I feel like me and my co-driver Craig worked really well together. Him calling corners and telling me when to go slow and when to go fast.
Right.
But
did you ever hit any of those infamous traps at all? Did you ever hit any of those?
We all basically had a rule before we started that if you saw a big group of people, you should probably slow down because something bad's going to happen. Or
right.
It's kind of weird because I thought what I would think was out in the middle of nowhere there'd be people lining the whole road, cheering you on, and a lot of them just wanted to cheer you on, but a lot of them wanted to set a booby trap and see you do a jump or hit a hole or something to screw you up. But luckily we didn't. We hit one jump, but it was actually just a flyaway jump, so it wasn't bad.
How far did you get?
Probably just 20, 30 feet, but
that's pretty good.
Yeah, it was actually.
That'd get you in. Nighttime? That's saying something.
I actually didn't see it at the time, but it's kind of like one of those.
But you're in it now.
Yeah. So,
right.
But there was a lot of them that they tried to dig holes and try and screw you up. But yeah, anytime I saw a big group of people, I would slow down, throw the siren on, make them happy, but I wouldn't.
Right.
Wreck the race car type say.
Exactly.
And that was the same with water crossings. There was a lot of water crossings in my section. it would kind of be like you're driving out in Sycamore after a good rain.
Oh, right.
So I'd slow down. I didn't want to get any electronics wet. I didn't want to get myself wet because it was already freezing cold.
Right.
I had fireproof underwear on. I had a 3-layer suit on and a big jacket, and I was still freezing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was cold night for
maybe
sure.
somebody should invent a inboard heater type thing for
Yeah,
the suit, maybe.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea. Maybe that's my $1 million idea.
Hey, there you go. Whoever's listening, that's a good idea. For sure.
There you go.
So when Branden got to the finish line, where were you at exactly? Since you handed the car off, you were hundreds of miles from the finish. How long did it take you to get to the finish line?
The mile marker I got out of was 5:30. So I think I got in the truck. I fell asleep for about 4 hours because I was dead. I drove all night. It actually didn't seem that long, but I drove like 10 hours straight.
Wow. That's endurance, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was 4:30 in the morning or whatever. We got on the road, and I think the next pit stop was like 700 something. So, we stopped every once in a while, but it probably took, and it felt like it took forever to get to the finish line, but it was actually a lot worse coming back.
Right.
Because we were in race mode going down till La Paz, but coming back seemed like it took 3 weeks. But
right.
But it was
a long
kind of
ways down there.
Yeah,
Man.
We were basically on our toes the whole race. We had a couple incidents, but other than that, we all worked really well together, and the car held up really well. Like I said, I think we had luck on our side for sure, but
yeah, the stars did align.
Yeah, a little bit of skill involved, but
right. So getting back to what you were saying, that you're starting to get a little bit of tension. Explain a little bit about what kind of traction you're getting, and maybe some possible things in the future. Let everybody know what's going on in your life a little bit now that it's all over with. And
I've had
you're gonna go back to sprint cars for a little bit, race.
Yeah, the sprint car is definitely ready to go. New motor, like I said. We're basically gonna hopefully put this Razor 1000 together and see where it goes from there. Maybe race a couple sprint car races in between, but I think that this Razor class in the Best in the Desert and Score is really going to kick off. I mean, we're already the 3rd largest class in the Baja, so
yeah, definitely growing.
To me, that says something. And then you got Polaris backing you, which is huge. They support you a lot, and then you got a bunch of local companies that really want to support you. I mean, you got
Lone Star Racing.
You got Lone Star Racing that wants to help me out. There's Fox Shocks that wants to help me out. Polaris has hit me up. Just a lot of stuff.
There's a lot coming at you right now.
Lighting wants to help you. I mean, there's somebody in every aspect of the car that wants to help you, which is a total culture shock from sprint car racing, because sprint car racing, you're kind of on your own. And
explain that a little bit. You hinted on that too. I want to let everybody kind of understand that a little bit, because you hinted on something really, really cool there. Go ahead and let everybody.
Sprint car racing, everybody's very competitive. Everybody's out there to win the race, obviously. I don't ever want to go to say I want to lose a race or whatever, but not that nobody wants to help you, but in a racing setting.
Yeah, and this is sprint car.
This is sprint car.
Right. Yeah. The whole mindset.
Yeah. The whole mindset is totally different. The mindset in the sprint cars is kind of you want to win, you don't want anybody else to win type deal. As bad as that sounds, but I was sitting. Yeah. This is a Razor now we're talking. I was sitting in the pit, and a couple other teams that were racing the Baja came up to us and said, "Hey, our car is probably another hour out. What do you guys need? You guys need help? What do you want us to do?" And I was looking at them like, "Wow, I didn't know if they were serious or not." Because coming from sprint cars, it's total different culture shock. But there's a lot of help. Everybody wanted to help everybody out. Everybody wanted to get to the finish, which was really cool. I was really, really glad to see that. And like I said, I probably never had so much fun racing before, period.
Yeah. The most brutal fun time you ever had in your life,
right? Yeah, exactly. It was brutal, but it was
learned a lot too.
Yeah. Learned a lot. Definitely the coolest experience in my life so far.
Wow. Well, it sounds like you got a lot of promising things in the future, and you're always going to have something to race. If you're not racing razors, you can always race a sprint car.
Yeah, seriously.
Because sprint car is a whole different ball game there. You're talking instant 90 miles an hour versus...
Yeah, I mean, it feels like you're going 150 in these razors through the desert.
Right.
I mean, actually, just going from a Rhino to a Razor 1000 is unbelievable. I mean, I was used to 23 horsepower or whatever a Rhino had, which is you can maybe go 30 miles an hour if you want
exactly.
I think I got up to about 80 miles an hour at one point, so that's
nice.
I mean that's cruising pretty good in a
Razor.
Razor.
Night too.
Yeah,
Boy,
yeah. I mean it was a smooth, gritty road, but still, I mean that's cruising pretty good for a Razor. But yeah, a sprint car, I mean, has 700 horsepower and the gas pedal only travels maybe an inch, so it's kind of like a light switch. You're on or you're off.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, you can go down to Tucson in a sprint car on a half mile and go 120 miles an hour if you wanted,
Right.
But that's
sketchy. That's some sketchy stuff.
Yeah, I've had my
Well,
fair
they picked
share.
the right guy to get in that leg, though. I tell you.
Yeah.
Well, we do appreciate you coming in the studio today, and we look forward to a lot more from you, I'm sure. And I'm sure we'll be seeing you on a sprint car track as well. I know that's where I kind of met you, and did some filming a couple years ago, and did some things at the local tracks here, and kind of got to know you in that regard. And it was funny because I was over at the Lone Star Racing shop, and I was talking with Dan and those guys over there, and they as soon as they mentioned your name, and it was just like, I know that name. And it's like, again, plucked out of obscurity, and I go, I know Justin, I know him. I mean, it's like, so I guess why I appreciate you giving us an interview. I appreciate that.
No problem. I'm glad you called me up. That was cool.
Yeah. Well,
look forward to doing more for sure.
Well, we will. I'm pretty sure we'll be seeing, like I say, we'll be seeing a lot more of you, and I'm sure, like I say, the opportunities are coming at you now, and people are going to understand who Justin Quinn is. I'm assuming here real soon.
Yeah,
so
I hope so.
All right. Well, thanks again, Justin, and you have a great day, sir.
Yeah, thank you. You too.
You bet.